Welcome everyone to my channel. My name is Grover Samponsa, and today we are going to solve these three WASSCE questions with Excel. These three WASSCE questions are actually 2008 Core Math WASSCE questions, and we are going to solve them with Excel. Assuming we were to solve these questions with Excel, we are going to find out how we will do it if we were to use digital system to solve these questions rather than pen and paper. So over here in my first question here, the question says the size of a triangle in the ratio 4:5:7 and its perimeter is 64 centimeters. Find the size. So this is a simple question, and this is also a WASSCE question. So we all know that every triangle has three sides, and the ratios and the size of the triangle are given in the form of ratio 4:5 and then 7. And then the perimeter of the triangle is given 64 centimeters, and we have to find the size. So I'll assume that the triangle has the size in the form of A, B, and then C. And then these A, B, and C hold the values 4, 5, and 7. So over here, I'm going to say A, B, and then C, which represents the size of the triangle. And then the ratios are 4, 5, and then 7. Okay. Before everything, we need to find our total ratio. So in this case, total ratio is in the form of the summation of these ones. So I'll say equal to sum, and then these are my numbers. So over here, I'll just select them and then I'll close it. And then we have 16. So the total ratio is 16. And then we were given that the perimeter is actually 64. So over here, I'll say P for perimeter, which is 64. And then the size are given as we need. So these are our data. So I'll just select these ones here and I'll merge them, and I'll say my data. And then these are the sides. Okay. So with my sides, we were given the ratios and then the perimeter. So I'm going to actually get the individual values and I'll use it to multiply the perimeter, and then we'll go away. So over here, I'm going to use the formula by taking these individual values and then I'll divide them by the total ratio, and then I'll multiply it by the perimeter. So over here, I'll say equal to the 4 here divided by the total ratio, and then I can put them in brackets over here. And then here, I'll multiply it by the perimeter, and I'll press enter. So notice that the first side is 16 centimeters. So I can just drag them here, and then I'm done. Alright, so it seems we have these values in here which is wrong, which might happen to anyone who might be doing this work. So over here we have a problem, but the formula here is actually correct, and then here as well. So the problem is that here, when I press this one and I check what is going on here by pressing F2, you get to realize that this blue color is actually this one. Let me press it again. This blue color is actually this one, and then this color is this one, and then this is also here. So it's actually taking the 5 divided by this space divided by this space, which is logically not making sense. So the solution, or the best solution to this, is that I need to lock some of these cells. So I have to lock this cell. By pressing F4, I have locked the cell, and then here too, I'll select it and press F4, I have locked the cell. The reason why I'm locking the cell is that I don't want the cells, when I press enter, I'll get the same thing. I don't want the cells, which in this case, when I press F2, you get to realize that this cell, when I dragged it down, this is shifted to this one, and then this also shifted down, this also shifted down. So when I lock the cell, this will not shift down, this will also not shift down. But notice that over here, as I locked these two cells here, I didn't lock the first one. So in this case, this one, which is the first one, is shifted down. The second one, in this case, which I locked it earlier, will not shift down. And then this one too will not shift down. So now, when I come in here and I drag it down, you get to realize that we have the correct answers in here. And when I press F2, you can see that, let me use this one here. When I press F2, you can see that this cell here is not moving, but this is actually moving. So in case we were to see what is going on here, Alright, so we now have these size in here, so simple. I can select them and press Control 1, and then we see this format cells. Over here I'll come to custom, and then I'll move to 0, and then here I'm going to leave some space and write centimeters over here, and then I'll press OK, and then now we have our centimeters added to these cells automatically. Alright, so we are done with the question 1. Let's move to question 2. Question 2 over here, the question says the table below shows the monthly expenditure of a family. We have the item and then the expenditure. We have rent, clothing, transport, savings, lighting, and then we also have their values here. The question says we have to draw a pie chart to represent the information, and then we are also supposed to find the percentage of the monthly expenditure that goes into savings. So this is a simple WASSCE question during 2008 Core Math. I'll drag it back small over here. So the first thing I'm going to do right now is that I'm going to get my table here, and then from there I can show my workings just as if we were to do it on a sheet of paper you do. So over here I'm going to say equal to, and then I can select all these elements here and I'll press enter. So notice that over here we have our elements in here duplicated over here. We have 6,000 without manually typing them. And then we need our third table. Our third table will be the angle of sector. That will give us the various angles as we need. So angle of sector here. Alright, so with the angle of sector, it has a formula. So the formula is giving us, you find the total of these angles or these elements in here, and then afterwards you will actually divide each of them by the total, and then you multiply it by 360, which is a full circle. So over here I'm going to just get my total value here, which might be your side work. So I'll say this here might be my total value, or let me just place it here. I'll say equal to sum, and then I'll select these ones here, and then I'll press enter. So this is my total values for all these ones here. Okay, so over here I'm going to say equal to this one here divided by my total value, which is here. Don't forget to lock it, and then I can close it in a bracket like this, and then afterwards I can multiply it by 360. In other words, 360 degrees. I'll press enter. So this is 72 degrees, and then from here I can drag it down, and then we have our various degrees in here. So with these degrees in here, we can even check if all of them they reach 360. So equal to sum, and then I'll select these ones here, and then I'll close them, and then here we go. We have 360 and then 6,000 in here. Alright, if you want to delete it, you might get an error which we don't want, so you have to keep them. Alright, so here, so now that we have this table, we can draw a pie chart, but we can design this better. So I'll select them and then Control 1. I'll move to custom, and then I'll choose this one here, and then here with my space I can actually leave a space and say odds 248 for degree. Okay, I'll press OK, and then we have our degree over there nicely made. Okay, so now we are about to draw our pie chart. So so over here, let me just select these ones here, and maybe I'll center them, and then here I'll just highlight them here. Let me choose a white color like this, and then a blue background. Sorry. Alright, so with these elements selected here, I also choose them, they should be bold, and then we have a nice table here. So with our pie chart, we need to insert it. So I'll move to insert here, but before that I need to select these ones here. I'll select this one, and then I'll select these ones as well, and then from here I can move to pie chart. I can select the first one here, and then when I press on the first one here, you can see that we have things like this. Let me just choose this one for now. I can even choose this one here, but let me choose this one here. Okay, and then from here I don't need this chart title, and I also don't need this one here. and over here I can press on these ones here, double press, or I'll press an empty area, I'll press these ones here, and then here I'll move to label, and then label option here. I don't need a percentage, but I need a category name here. So over here, and then the values that I want to show over here, I'll select the range in here, and then I'll press OK. So we have these elements nicely made, and then with these where they are positioned, I can see some of them clearly. So I'll say best fit. If the best fit is not really well for me, I can just say outside, which in this case that one is quite better. So over here we have our 72 and then the rent. With the separator, I can choose to clean it and then leave a space, or in a way I can delete this one here, and I'll say maybe space over here, and then we are done. I don't want a background, so I'm going to select this. I'll come here, and then I'll say the fill, I'll choose none, and then the borders too, I'm going to choose none. Okay, and now we have this beautiful pie chart drawn as the question demanded. So during the WASSCE time, we needed this table here, and then something like this with pencil, and then your compass, and then everything. Okay. Alright, so with our third question in here, the question is also a maths question, 2008 Core Math WASSCE question. So the question says the marks obtained by 40 students in the mathematical test are as follows. We are given these data over here, and then the question says copy and complete the table. So this was the table that was given to them during 2008 Core Math WASSCE question. So we are supposed to get our tally and then the frequency, and notice that we are given these elements over here, and we are to solve this question. So inside our question, we are going to get our class midpoint. So I'll just draw that here, class midpoint here. Okay, and then for some reasons 0 to 19, we need a way to get our 0, our 19. Okay, so over here I'm going to get a way to separate the 0 from the 19 as seen here, and then 20 from the 39, 40 and the rest. So I need to get a way. This is not part of the table, but solving it with Excel, we have to use a way to get these two numbers separated so that we can use mathematical ways to solve them, to solve this problem. And so over here I'm just going to say side numbers, or I wouldn't even give it any title. So over here I'm going to say 0 and then 19, and then over here I'm going to say 20 and then 40. And then with my next one I'm going to say 39 and then 59. Let me just select these ones. As a lazy person I'll just do this. Okay, and then over here I have these numbers over here. Okay, so with my tally, before we solve for the tally, we need our frequency. Our frequency is counting, for this one, is counting numbers over here that range from 0 to 19. We can't count them manually because we are using our digital system. So we have to use a function or a formula. So I'm going to use a function. The function is called sum product. So I'll say sum products here. Okay, and then my array is actually these ones over here. So I need 2 times. Okay, so these ones over here. Okay, and then I have to check if that number is greater or equal to 0. So I'll say greater or equal to this number here. Okay, and then I'll close the first bracket. I need this sign here. I'll open it again. The array again is this one here, and then it also supposed to be less than or equal to 19. So I'll say less than or equal to my number here, which is this 19 over here, and then I'll close this one here, then I'll close it here. I'll press enter. We have 2. When you take time to go through this one here, you're going to find out that we have 18, and then we also have a number like, maybe I can't see it from here, but we also have 14 over here, and these are the only 2 numbers that range from 0 to 19. Okay, so we have our 2 correct over here. What the sum product did was that it it actually took this one function here. It went for numbers that are greater than 0, and then it also went for numbers that are also less than or equal to 19, and then it actually checked for the range, and then it brought them. So over here, just as so. I don't need to type for the second one as well, but for you to get it well, I'll do it again. So I'll say equal to some products here, and then I'm going to choose my first one over here, which is this range here. Okay, and then I'm actually going to check if it is greater than or equal to this 20. Okay, and then I'll close it, and I have to check it here again, the range here as well, and then I have to check if it is actually less than or equal to this 39, and then I'll close it. I'll close it one more time, and I'll press enter. So we have 13. Inside the book we had 13, so our formula is very correct. So over here I can just choose to select my numbers here, and we are done. But we're actually wrong, because our frequency, it won't sum to 40. If I hold alt and press equals and I press enter, get to realize that we have 32 instead of 40. That means we are wrong. The reason why we are wrong, let's find out. We'll press F2, and we'll get to realize that these two elements are correct, but look at the range that was actually working. It's actually these ones, rather than these tops were neglected. So we don't need to forget to lock ourselves in here. So I'll come to the first one, which I used, which is covering everything, and then over here I'm going to select this one here, hold F4 to lock it, and same for the other one here, hold F4 to lock it, and then press enter. And now we are supposed to drag it down like this, and now we have the correct form. So alt equals enter, we have 40, we are very right. Inside the book we had the same thing, so we are very right. Okay, so with our tally, it's so simple. I'll say equal to rept, and then the text that I want to repeat is actually this one here. I'll say comma, the number of times that I want to repeat is the frequency. So I'll just hold it, and then I'll press enter. We have 2, which is right. So over here too, I'll just drag it down, and there we go. The downside is that we cannot get the ones that will cross them. This is the best method that we have so far. But our class midpoint here, I'm just going to say equal to sum of these two elements in here, and then there we go, divided by 2, since we need the midpoint, and we press enter. So over here we can just actually hold shift down like this, and then control D. With control D we just copy the formula and then paste them here. Okay, so I just press F2, and then you can see that we are right. So we are done drawing the table over here. We can choose to design these ones here. I'll just design, say, numbers like so, and then we are done. So over here you can just design it like that. Alright, so before you comment down that I didn't do question 2, the last one, I'll do it, but don't forget to like and subscribe. So over here, so the question says, what percentage of monthly expenditure goes into savings? Alright, so over here we can use 2 methods and even more than that to solve the question here that says the percentage of the monthly expenditure that goes into savings. So this is my savings here, and I can use this to solve it. So I'll just come in here, let me solve it here so that you can see the answer from this place. So with the formula, I'm just going to say equal to the savings over here divided by the total, which in this case we got it here, and then times 100. Okay, so here we go. We're going to get 17.5%. Okay, with our method 2 here too, we're going to say equal to the angle of actually this one, which is 63 here, divided by 360 here, and then we are going to multiply it by 100. We are going to get 17.5. So these are 2 methods that we have over here, and I can actually select these ones here, control to select this one as well. I'm going to press control 1, and then over here I'll come to custom, and then from here I'll go to 0, and then here actually say 0.0 so that we can get our decimal values here. Then from here I'm going to give it this sign here, and then I can press enter. So we have our 17.50%, which is right. Thank you guys for watching, and I believe you've gotten much experience with Excel, and then also you've gotten a fair knowledge about the topics that we treated over here. I wish you all the best during your WASSCE, and keep on following me. Subscribe to my channel as we do more of these things. Thank you.